Week 1 is just around the corner. You can practically taste it at this point when it comes to the Browns and Bengals kicking things off. So we're going to run through some of my top matchups to watch for in this game. Now, quick disclaimer, I am filming today's video during our live show, which airs every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. So if something gets dated, just roll with the punches. But the first matchup I am watching for, it's a biggie one. It is Ja'Marr Chase against the Browns DBs. And you notice that I'm leaving it a little bit open-ended because as I film this right now, Denzel Ward is still in concussion protocol, and I can't confidently or definitively say one way or another that Denzel Ward will be playing. But let's proceed as in Denzel Ward is out for this game. Now, some background information on Ja'Marr Chase. He did not play in the first matchup last year. Remember, he had that injury that knocked him out for 5 weeks. But in the second go-around against the Browns, he was really good. 119 yards and 1 touchdown. So Ja'Marr Chase has only played 3 games against Cleveland, but he has not always been at his best in these 3 games. I mean, his 194 yards against the Browns, that is the lowest for Ja'Marr Chase against any AFC North opponent. Now, I also want to go back in time for a moment because Ja'Marr Chase, if you guys remember, talked about the Browns secondary almost 12 months ago to the day. And here's what he said when he asked about the Browns secondary. It's game time when we see them. It's just on site, that's it. Not just because Cleveland talks the most shit. Denzel Ward did his thing. Same for Greg Newsome. I don't think he elite, but they just talk crazy. If Denzel Ward is out for this game, and that's a big if, that's a game changer. But I am ready for Ja'Marr Chase to truly be introduced to second-year pro Martin Emerson, who showed a lot of great things in his rookie season. And if he is tasked with the job of following number 1 around on Sunday, I've got confidence and I've got faith in 23. Because Martin Emerson last year, 63 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 15 pass breakups, still looking for that first INT. And if Denzel Ward can't get the pick 6, I wouldn't mind Martin Emerson being the guy who picks up the slack a little bit. Last year, though, PFF loved Martin Emerson. 23 out of 118 ranked corners. Completion percentage just over 50%. 490 yards allowed and 3 touchdowns given up. But Martin Emerson has been buzzing throughout training camp in the preseason. Everyone has been raving and glowing about how he has looked entering his second year in the NFL. And when you look at Cleveland's cornerback room here, if no Denzel Ward, it comes down to Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, maybe a little bit more than we expected from the rookie Cameron Mitchell, 5th rounder out of Northwestern. They added Awuzie from the Chiefs roster cutdown list. And then Mike Ford, who is mostly a special teamer, could get some real playing time as well. But matchup to watch for here, Myles Garrett against new left tackle Orlando Brown. I think this is going to be the matchup we see a lot. And Myles Garrett, well, Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. We know how awesome Myles Garrett is. Last season, 16 sacks for the second straight season. PFF gave him 73 quarterback pressures. They do their pressure rankings a little bit different than other spots, but 73 is towards the top of the NFL. 60 tackles and 2 forced fumbles. Meanwhile, Orlando Brown. Let's get everyone familiar with the Chiefs' new left tackle. At one time, a trade to Kansas City that's the first round back to Baltimore. Well, since he's been hanging out with Andy Reid and eating barbecue, he's been pretty good. He gave up 4 sacks last year, 6 penalties, 7 hits allowed, and 47 pressures. Now, when you look at his PFF grades overall, he was one of the best tackles in football last year, no question about it. He ranked 19th out of 81 qualifying players, an overall grade of 75.8. So this is not Myles Garrett going up against some Joe Schmo, some rookie that he's going to feast on. It's going to be a battle for Myles Garrett. I'm not going to sell Orlando Brown short. But the good news is Myles Garrett has an awesome guy opposite of him in Zadarius Smith. And when Zadarius Smith gets a little bit tired, Okoronkwo steps onto the field. And if Dalvin Tomlinson gets a little bit tired coming up the middle, Shelby Harris comes on the field. This Browns defensive line, it has horses. It's got guys. It's got dudes. And it's got Jim Schwartz leading them. A Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. The Bengals are going to get their first taste of what Myles Garrett looks like with Jim Schwartz and Zadarius Smith complementing number 95. Because so far, lucky for them, they've had to just deal with Myles Garrett doing it all by himself. Now, he's got some company. He's got some ammunition. He's got some guys supporting him. And it's going to be a long day for Burrow and the Bengals. Now, before we get into the next matchup to watch for, I just want to do a quick scheduling alert to get you guys on your radar for this. We have a live show every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Plus, we do watch parties for every single game. So we will get started 30 minutes before kickoff, which will be 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you tune in for a watch party if you've never have before. It's a blast. Everyone in the comment section can vouch for it. It's a great way to take in a Browns football game. My third matchup to watch for in this game, Amari Cooper against cornerback Chidobe Awuzie. So the former duo in Dallas now meets opposite of one another, and it's going to be a really fun matchup to watch for. First, Amari Cooper. We have seen this stat probably tossed around a little bit now, but he has some opportunities to make history, and let's be honest, it's a little bit sad. But he can become the first receiver in Cleveland Browns history to post consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's coming off a very strong year. PFF ranked him 15th out of 113 qualifying wide receivers, and that's with him basically running around with like no abs for the last 4 weeks of the season. Now, he does have some familiarity with Awuzie, who they overlapped with in Dallas together from 2018 to 2020. Now, last year, Cooper with a run-first offense and Jacoby Brissett slinging the rock, and this is no slander against Brissett, but Brissett's usually not the quarterback that gets a receiver over 1,000 yards. Amari Cooper and Jacoby Brissett were awesome together. The connection between him and Watson wasn't ever quite there, but Cooper still put up 1,100-plus yards and 9 scores to go along with it. Now, on the other side of the coin, it is the Bengals cornerback Awuzie, who unfortunately tore his ACL in Week 8 of last year against the Browns, if you remember that. Of course, missed the rest of the season, but he is shaping up to be ready to go for Week 1 against Cleveland, and the Bengals are very excited to have him back because he was having, I want to say, a career year up until that ACL injury. 35 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. Now, here's what Chidobe said about his relationship with Amari Cooper. Everybody knows he's one of the greatest route runners our generation has seen, the way he gets in and out of breaks. I mean, Amari Cooper is not getting paid because of his elite speed. He's got a great route running ability, and he's got surefire hands, and he is a quarterback's best friend. But Deshaun Watson's bounce back season, the return, the getting back on top of the mountain, it has to start with number 2, right? I just don't see a way Deshaun Watson gets back to the top of the quarterback food chain without Amari Cooper being right alongside him the entire time. It's going to take more guys. It'll take a nice complimentary back in Nick Chubb. It's going to take an elite offensive line. You don't get to the top by doing it all by yourself. But Amari Cooper, as his go-to wide receiver 1, he's got to be there step for step with him, and that's why that matchup with Awuzie is a big one to watch for. Now, before we get on out of here to the rest of our segments, make sure you check out our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Browns125. When you put all that information in, they give you a 125% deposit bonus. Now, you can put some money down on the Browns +3 because I am all over Cleveland +3 against the Bengals. In fact, I'm taking the Browns money line. So ride with me over at chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. Fourth matchup to keep an eye on. This one is going to get in the feels a little bit. I'm going to go with Kevin Stefanski against Zach Taylor. This is cheating a little bit when it comes to true matchups to watch for, but both coaches right now are dealing with injuries. Of course, you have Joe Burrow dealing with a calf injury, and as I film this right now, he is slated to be able to play, but it's a bit of a question mark. And then you've got Denzel Ward dealing with a concussion right now, the 4th of his NFL career. But Kevin Stefanski, some background on him. He's entering year 4 as the Browns head coach, 26-24 all-time, 1-1 in the postseason. He's unfortunately coming off back-to-back losing seasons. Now, he does have Cincinnati's number. He's 5-1 against the Bengals all time. But we've heard so much talk, so much chatter about Kevin Stefanski being the guy to drive the bus when it comes to a Deshaun Watson-led offense in Cleveland. So, Kevin, let's see what you've been up to all offseason. Because I remember when Deshaun Watson got traded to the Browns, one of the big storylines was Watson and Stefanski sat down and they went over film, and Stefanski said, if I was your head coach, this is what I would do. And the two reportedly kind of fell in love at that moment. Now is the time to see what this brand new offense looks like, right? An offense that Deshaun Watson said, it's new, it's different. It might take a game or two to ease in, but it can't take much longer because the Browns have a very difficult schedule right off the bat with all 4 division opponents and a tough out in the Tennessee Titans. So you know what? It's going to have to pay off quickly. And Stefanski, I want to see what you've been up to all offseason long. 5th and final matchup to watch for, this is like a Dabo Sweeney, cheese ball by me here. But I'm going to go with the Browns against the media, meaning the players themselves, they are online. They know what is being said about them. And they know that no one is really giving the Browns that much of a chance. There is a lot of disrespect for the Cleveland Browns this season. And some of it is warranted. Browns won 7 games last year. Who are we to just crown them as a 12-win team the next year? But you know what? If this roster was in pretty much any other city, if it was the New York Browns, how different would the win predictions be across the NFL, right? How different would the national perception be about the Browns' ability to be successful on the year be? But because it's the Cleveland Browns, no one's really giving them much of a chance. No one's looking at them. You might see an outlet give them a 10-7 prediction, but no one is looking at this team the way I am. No one is looking at this team going, Deshaun Watson, Pro Bowl, All-Pro talent. Nick Chubb, best running back in the NFL. Offensive line, if Jed Wills is the weakest link and he would be a starting left tackle and an upgrade for several NFL teams, you're doing something right up front. The wide receiver room, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, all very skilled players. And defensively, Jim Schwartz driving the bus. Myles Garrett, all-pro caliber player. Zadarius Smith. The list goes on and on. Denzel Ward. I could spend all day talking about the talent on this team. But no one really seems to be giving them much of a chance. So for the Browns, it is up to them to make a statement, to knock off one of the AFC juggernauts in the first week of the season and really plant their flag and go, we are here. We are here to play, and we are here to contend with the best of the best in the AFC. So to wrap up the show, predict the score for me. Browns versus Bengals. What is your score prediction? It's always silly trying to predict the score far in advance, but you know what? Just do your best here. Let me know what your score prediction is down in the comment section. Give me the Browns. I'll probably change it a dozen times. But right at this moment, I'm feeling Browns 30, Bengals 24. To wrap up the show, let's pick up a card and see what's on the other side of it. Trace, which card do you want to go with?
Give me the 8 of hearts.
8 of hearts? I like that pick. I'm going to go with the 5 of clubs. What'd you say?
8 of hearts.
8 of clubs.
Oh, man.
8 of clubs. Damn, that's close. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come hang out and tune in for this edition of the Cleveland Browns Report.